your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong. But when somebody comes up with Oppo research, right? They come up with Oppo research. Oh, let's call the FBI. The FBI doesn't have enough agents to take care of it. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen. They all do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
Is there a greater troll and roll of the Democrats than President Donald J. Trump? Hi, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. And yesterday, you would have thought we had a nuclear attack by ISIS with the way the media went into meltdown mode last night on all of the major cable news networks, breaking in with this just in. George Stephanopoulos from ABC News had, in his own words, unprecedented access to President Donald Trump for 48 hours. Went on Air Force One, rode in the brand new limo called the Beast, was just able to come and go. There were no restrictions, no bridling of staff, no bridling of the president. Let me just pause right here to say this. Donald Trump, and this is going to make some of you libloons just go out of your minds. Donald Trump, I know you would like to think of him as a brazen wannabe dictator and stupid. He is neither. He is one of the most transparent, blunt in your face, honest presidents we have ever had. Now, Ronald Reagan was an incredible conservative-minded, intellectual, thoughtful, but carefully scripted president. He was formerly a Hollywood movie actor, so he understood the art of the visual and getting the scene right and the set just right. Donald Trump, come on in. You know, for all of this talk that the mainstream media loves to portray this president as some type of either dictator or isolationist or, in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's mentally ill. He doesn't like being president. He doesn't understand foreign policy or any type of complexities. Every time there's a gaggle of reporters, he stops and talks to them. Unedited, unfettered. Brings Stephanopoulos into the White House, unscripted, doesn't need to see the questions beforehand, like Barack Obama. So, this ought to tell you just how honest this man is, because he doesn't have anything to hide. Now, I know the Democrats are in meltdown mode because they think he has brazenly admitted, yeah, I would collude. If I like the dirt on my opposition candidate, yeah, sure, I'd collude. But the dirty little secret here is he didn't collude. Robert Mueller already said that. Robert Mueller already emphatically made the case in the Mueller report, absolutely no collusion. Not even with the infamous Donald Trump Jr. meeting at Trump Tower with a Russian lawyer. Hillary colluded. She sent members of her campaign to the Ukraine. She actually sent members of her campaign onto foreign soil to get opposition research information on Donald Trump. Hillary Rodham Clinton paid money for foreign opposition intel. The infamous dossier that she paid for. Steele, a one-time British agent going to Maharashtra she paid foreign entities for dirt on her opponent, then candidate Donald J. Trump. And that bought and paid for dirt became the premise for the investigation into Donald Trump. Thus, there were FISA warrants issued on opposition research paid to a foreign entity. And yet, you never hear the lying legacy corporate corrupt media talk about that. Why? Because they're really not a free press. Are you hearing me? They're really not a free press. What they are, they're a propaganda machine. That's all they are. They're the mouthpiece of the Democratic libloon party line. That's what they are. For decades, they were able to hold and sway opinion into American lives that Americans reacted to, especially when it was just the three big networks, NBC, ABC, and CBS. Now, because of the internet and underground media, they have lost their grip and their ability to continually be able to paint the narrative. So now we have to deal with this thing called the truth. Not the spin, not the propaganda, not the false narrative that they would like you to think is the news, think is accurate, think is freedom of the press. No, they're doing everything they can to try to stifle that. Demonetize platforms on YouTube, stifle any type of dissenting argument or disagreement on all social media platforms, which basically means gagging and removing conservative voices. And you better understand that going into the 2020 election, they are really, really, really going to clamp down on programs and channels just like the one you're watching now. We're already seeing YouTube continues to mess with our numbers. Every time I talk about it, it stops. And for a couple of days, we do okay, and the subscriptions begin to climb back up. And if I don't say anything every day about it, then all of a sudden I magically start losing subscriptions, and the algorithm has us buried. Because I'm talking about it today, maybe we'll get our numbers up for tomorrow. We'll see, but I need your help, and I appreciate your help in spreading the word about this channel. But now that the media can no longer set the narrative, because the politicians working with them no longer can just say something through a spin cycle and it becomes accepted, established fact. Now, they still try to portray it that way at PMSNBC and CNN and LBGTQ TV, but they know that Donald Trump is not losing by massive double digits to Joe Biden. They know that Donald Trump is actually poised for a second term. And so now, aha! Trump has given them what they need. He's gonna do it in 2020. He may not have done it in 2016, but he's already said, bring on the opposition research from foreign entities. He's a traitor! No. He's done a couple of things here. Number one, there is an ongoing investigation by our Attorney General, William Barr, into just exactly how the whole spying on the Trump campaign began. Who authorized it? How deep did it go? And how much of a role did Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign, working with the Obama Justice Department, the Obama intelligence communities, using the phony dossier? See, that's being fully investigated now. And Donald Trump, by saying what he said in pure genius form, because as much as these guys would like to portray him as being some type of buffoon and an idiot, he is brilliant, and he is smarter than all of them on Capitol Hill. He's gotten them on record now. And you wait, they're going to propose some type of constitutional amendment or new law that no political candidate can receive any information from a foreign entity. which personally I have no problem with. Deep down, neither does Donald Trump. He wants them to say that because he knows that once Barr's investigation is done, once the Inspector General's investigation is released, we're going to find out there was a whole lot of colluding going on. We're going to find out there was a whole lot of reach out to foreign entities. Not by the Republicans, by the Democrats. It was Ted Kennedy who reached out to Soviet Russia during the Reagan administration and said, please don't start a nuclear war with us. We will get this lunatic cowboy Hollywood has-been under control. Nice. John Kerry has been exposed by Pompeo as having backdoor communications right now with Iran. Would that be the same Iran that just took out a couple of oil tankers? And is it really Iran? Is it another, shall we say, shadow operation designed to look like Iran? Is it Al-Qaeda? Is it ISIS? There's just not enough information being made public to us right now. We know what they want the spin to be. But nobody in their right mind thinks that on any level Iran is our friend or good people. Now, they may be being framed and set up as a excuse to take military action against them, but nobody who's thinking and reasonable and sane believes for a moment that Iran is a friend to America. But John Kerry's having backdoor conversations with them. Barack Obama messed with Israel's election because he didn't like Benjamin Netanyahu. Why isn't Obama being investigated? Why wasn't there a special counsel looking into his collusion? And then we have so-called rhinos and these never Trump conservative ilk like George Will saying things like the discourse of Donald Trump and his crassness and his crudeness. We just can't have this as a society. Hey, Georgie Porgy, have you ever watched any movie actually filmed in the last couple of years? The kind of language and discourse that's on social media and the way kids actually talk to parents and adults. Are you totally clueless? And all that was going on long before Donald Trump ever became the president. George Will recently said that, if a 10-year-old talked the way Donald Trump did, we would send him to bed without dinner. No, you wouldn't, because DCF would come into your house and take your kids away, and you'd go to jail for child abuse. That's the society in which we live in. Donald Trump is not creating this discourse. He is a reflection of it. Hello, somebody say amen right there. See, I've got my official church garb on today. I was out actually doing pastoral duty today. Can I get a witness? So, watching these liberals just melt down, look what Donald Trump's done, look what he's done. The other thing, by saying what he said, he's rolled and trolled them. Rolled and trolled them again. By the way, once he said that, all of a sudden they weren't talking about poll numbers or Joe Biden or any of the other stuff that they were talking about 24 hours ago. Talk about this. Donald Trump is a master of media manipulation. I freely admit that. I thought Ronald Reagan was the master at that. Bill Clinton copied Ronald Reagan in that area, which is what made Bill Clinton so effective. And what makes Donald Trump more effective than both of them, he really understands how to manipulate the media in such a way they're talking about him. And at the end of the day, P.T. Barnum said, the only bad press is no press. And this is just, I'm sitting here and I'm laughing. Because again, the Democrats like, we got him, we got him, we got him. Now my concern is that we'll have never-ending now investigations. And I heard Rush Limbaugh allude to something earlier today, and I think he's absolutely right. What the George Wills and the Rhinos and the fake conservative Republicans ought to be concerned about is the fact that the Democrats have actually created a fourth branch of government unconstitutionally, in that we now have this group of people that we call special counsel, which operates on their own. They have no one that they are held in check by, and they have subpoena power and arrest power and can destroy people's lives all over politics. That's dangerous. Hey, George Will, where's an article or 2 or 10 on that? That's all right. Don't bother to write it. Nobody reads your crapola anymore anyway. You're about as exciting as the nub of a Crayola crayon that you can't peel the paper off anymore, and there's barely enough nub to hold on to try to color anything. So the president rolls and trolls them again, and again proves he's really not afraid of the media, even though he calls them the enemy of the state and these horrible, awful people. He didn't do this interview with Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham. He did it with George Stephanopoulos, and think about it. George Stephanopoulos one time ran the war room for candidate Bill Clinton. The war room, which was the concept. Not only would they have a response at the ready for any of the accusations that they believe would be hurled at their candidate, they would have their response, their defense all ready, as well as 2 points of attack on the one launching the accusation. Donald Trump is a war room kind of conference guy. Make no mistake, he picked Stephanopoulos on purpose. Stephanopoulos didn't back him into a corner with that question. If anything, Trump led him to that question. It was masterfully done. Donald Trump is a genius. And in a few months, all these Democrats like Adam Schiff for brains, who, by the way, and I played the recording on here and I'm not going to play it again, on the phone with a couple of radio DJs, thinking he's talking to a foreign entity to get opposition dirt on candidate Donald Trump. Well, they got pictures of him. Donald Trump naked. I can honestly tell you, even though I love Donald Trump as my president, I don't want to see any naked pictures of him. That's a frightening thought. Donald Trump, in his brutal honesty, telling George Stephanopoulos, are you kidding me? Go to the FBI? Every single congressman, every single person running for any type of office, when someone offers them dirt on their opponent, they listen. And then he wanted to use Al Gore as a benchmark of, well, when Al Gore got a piece of information, I think it was some type of memo calendar, he immediately turned it over to the FBI. What about when Al Gore was in direct violation of the Constitution by sitting in the White House during Clinton's re-election campaign, and in the White House using government paid for, funded office space, telephone lines, etc., 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 was making phone calls on behalf of Clinton, raising campaign money, which is a big no-no. See, again, it's like the video I did yesterday. These demo rats are constantly lecturing us on civility and propriety and doing things honestly and correctly, yet they are the ones that are totally and completely, from the top of their heads to the soles of their feet, vile, evil, and corrupt. Little dose of the truth. It's a big dose of the truth. And thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this channel. Please continue to do so. Get the word out. And we want to keep channels like this. By the way, it's important. And I know some of you watch, but you haven't subscribed. Please do that. And don't just subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications of my rants. But you better understand that YouTube is going to really clean house going into 2020. So it's important that we keep creating channels like this. But you need to subscribe. You need to get we need to get our subscription base up so that it becomes harder for YouTube to do that, to remove channels. Because if they can, they'll pick off the small channels like this one first, and then they'll go after the moderate channels, then they're going to go after the big guns. Please subscribe. Help us grow, get us out of this level and to the next one. And I thank you, and I thank you for all your comments, and I do appreciate you. Stay tuned for my next rant.